Today's video begins with a bang. Two occupiers imagine themselves to be a convoy transporting gasoline, taking a 5-liter bottle in their hands. However, like any other convoy, it was spotted by a drone. After observing, the decision was made to eliminate the stolen gasoline supply along with the thieves. But it wasn't that simple because they had weapons that they couldn't use properly, so they couldn't hit a target a few meters away, which led to their hellish end in flames. And now we see unique footage from drones over the past day. The operators' work continues unabated. They methodically destroy everything related to the war. The recording shows how reconnaissance drones such as Gerber are turned into debris while still in the sky, how precise strikes cover enemy equipment, leaving no chance. Special attention is paid to FPV drones. They are destroyed before takeoff with a lightning-fast preemptive strike, effectively depriving the enemy of the ability to respond. It is particularly impressive how shelters are found and destroyed. These are not only basements or underground rooms, but also improvised shelters in pipes and communications, of which the enemy was so proud. But no trickery can save them. Blow after blow, and the territory turns into a dead zone. After the operations, a terrifying picture remains. Complete desolation, without a single movement. No people, no equipment, not even signs of life. Only clouds of dust linger in the air for a long time, reminding us that a precise and merciless strike has just taken place here. Another group searched the forest for people who should not have been there and came across several temporary shelters that had obviously been destroyed. In one of these shelters, soldiers who had just been fighting were resting, still fully equipped with ammunition and grenades, which made the second destruction even more spectacular. After a while, the group went on a night hunt, neutralizing possible locations of Russian troops, and best of all, a warehouse of flammable fuel and lubricants, which sent a high pillar of fire into the sky. Moving in a column, or more precisely, in a convoy of various types of vehicles, they were attacked by a drone, after which the column broke up and scattered in different directions, hoping that this would confuse the operators. But the drone arrived with friends, which provided an excellent opportunity to observe all the columns and later also attack them. Both passenger cars carrying soldiers and supplies and heavy armored vehicles and tanks were attacked. All vehicles were prepared for drone attacks by installing a cage-like force barrier, but this is a very temporary solution because any cage will break under the force of friendship, i.e. the paired work of drones, one opening the way, the second destroys it, or another method, the use of more powerful kamikaze drones that are used precisely against armored vehicles, because such vehicles require a much larger explosive charge than a light aluminum car or a lone soldier in a field. And right now, you can see these drones in action. A reconnaissance drone was observing a column of tanks, 3 of them to be precise, on a road through rough terrain. And then a drone appeared on the scene. When the combat crew of these tanks saw the drone, they immediately began to flee in all directions, but a tank is not very mobile, which made it an obvious target. The strike was so powerful that the tank's turret flew 10 meters into the air, after which the tank continued to burn. Most likely, it was carrying a full combat load that was intended to be used in one of the directions of the clash. let's remember what I said earlier. There were 3 tanks, and as we can see, only one was hit. Where did the others go? They didn't go anywhere. As mentioned earlier, all the personnel in the combat vehicles fled when they saw the drone, so both tanks were standing not far from the first one. This was actually very convenient for repeated strikes. Next, in the footage, we see how all the soldiers who took cover are trying to flee as far away as possible due to the threat of another strike, and they are all walking together along the same road they came on earlier. Unfortunately, there is no footage of the strike. However, judging by the cloud of smoke, we can guess that few of them survive. Here, a drone is chasing a motorcycle driven by a Russian soldier who is rescuing a wounded person. But the drone has other plans, and here you can see the terrified eyes before the strike, as well as other passenger vehicles that were damaged, such as a Russian-modified Bukanka and another motorcycle. And last, for today, will be footage of the destruction of vehicles of all types and purposes, starting with supposedly all-terrain vehicles which are turned into burning piles of metal, to motorcycles and ATVs. In principle, they are not very different from cars in the end. The main target was vehicles, to reduce the mobility of groups, to restrict movement, to control space. But along with the cars, the drivers were also taken away. Those who drove the cars had no chance of escape. Each strike was accurate. Each explosion was devastating. Thus, each strike was accompanied by a loud explosion of vehicles. At any time of the day, and at any time of the night, cars burned, bursting into bright flames. Motorcycles and ATVs were reduced to piles of metal. Smoke rose, enveloping everything around, and each scene was repeated like a harsh demonstration of power. The task of the technology was to stop mobility. The task of the explosion is to capture the moment of destruction. Metal flew in all directions, and only ashes and ruins remained. These shots demonstrate both the power and fragility of technology. They show that even powerful machines cannot withstand a targeted strike, and that mobility is the most vulnerable resource. Each explosion is a moment when control over space reaches its peak. Each scene is a reminder that movement can be stopped instantly, and only traces of loss remain. Traces of metal, flames, and smoke. These shots conclude today's demonstration. They leave behind only emptiness and silence after the explosions.